Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new Apex irons from Callaway.
Let's take a closer look at our two teams this year. For Team Europe, it is Suzanne Pettersson who returns for a second straight captaincy. She's bringing last year's hometown hero, which Brandel just mentioned, Carlotta Saganda, who clinched that final point for Europe in her home country. You've got 9-time Solheim Cup legend Anna Nordqvist. We'll be hearing from her a little bit later in the show. She is one of 4 captains' picks, along with England's Georgia Hall. Emily Pedersen returns, and Albane Valenzuela, she makes her debut along with fellow rookie Esther Heinz. So over to Team USA, Stacey Lewis also returns as captain, this time hoping for redemption, with the team headlined by world's number 1 and 2 Nelly Korda and Lilia Vu. You've got Lexi Thompson back for her 7th Solheim Cup, likely her final appearance, and she is a captain's pick along with Jennifer Kupcho and Sarah Schmelzel. So for more on how these teams are shaping up this week, let's send it out to Amy Rogers.
Thanks, Anna. Well, there is so much happening out here at the Solheim Cup beyond what you're just seeing and hearing from these press conferences and interviews. So I wanted to get you caught up on some of the things that I have learned throughout the week, starting with former President Barack Obama. Now, we saw earlier this week that he surprised the U.S. team at that team dinner. Well, I spoke with U.S. Captain Stacey Lewis yesterday, who told me that when Obama found out that the Solheim Cup was going to be played here at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club, where he is a member, that he X'd out this week on his calendar 2 years ago because he wanted to make sure that he was here and able to get to know and spend a little bit of time with the team. I've also heard that Obama is expected to make another appearance here sometime during this weekend. Now, another thing of note I wanted to mention, you can see behind me, there are these 2 cottages. They border the driving range here. Well, there's some angst that's developed between the European and U.S. Solheim Cup team. So this cottage directly behind me here is the European cottage. It's directly on the range. It has a practice putting green right next to it that the team's able to utilize, and there's some hitting bays in the back of that cottage as well. Well, the U.S. team is a little bit farther away. They're in the cottage next to it, so it's not directly on the range. Well, in speaking with a member of the European Solheim Cup team today, she told me that the U.S. side has been a little upset about this ideal location of the team room for Team Europe, and it seems like the U.S. side would have picked this cottage as they're on American soil, but looks like that wasn't the case. Now, I also got a chance today to catch up with a U.S. assistant captain who told me that the team is feeling really good about the course this week. They feel like it sets up quite well for the American side. One thing they haven't figured out, however, is what it is exactly that's going to fire up this U.S. team. They're so chill, they're so easygoing, so still trying to figure out what exactly it is that might get them fired up if need be as the week goes on. This captain also telling me that we probably don't really need to read too much into those practice rounds, who's playing with who. She said some of it is simply logistics of just trying to get players on the course. And then one last note before I go, Anna, is on rookie Sarah Schmelzel. She is embracing and just loving this first opportunity to compete in the Solheim Cup. In fact, she went out and purchased a bald eagle onesie that she wore to a party yesterday. It was a real hit with the team, and she tells me that she also has a George Washington costume that she plans to break out later this week. She was disappointed it didn't come with a hat or with hair, but she figured they'll get the idea. Anna?
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Amy. So spirits are high for Team USA. So the question is, can they rise to the challenge on home soil and embrace that all-important home advantage? So let's take a look at some of the notes for Team USA. Average age just over 27 years of age, which is slightly younger than Team Europe. Average Rolex ranking just over 26th in the world, of course, headlined by world number 1 and 2 Nelly Korda and Lilia Vu. Combined Solheim Cups played 22. It's a pretty young team in terms of experience, I think you could say, but there is so much fire and there is so much talent in Team USA. And of course, Brandel, this year, they have got the home advantage, and that is an intangible thing that you cannot underestimate.
Yeah, and not an intangible is the world rank. I mean, that is tangible. I mean, you can see it. You look at it on paper, and the United States has enjoyed for almost every single year a decided advantage as it relates to world ranking. And to your point, at home, yes, they have been more successful. It is an advantage to be home, whether you're playing in Europe for the European side or playing in the United States for the United States side. You simply win more points for the United States, and the inverse is obviously true of Europe as well. It's more than a point advantage. So you could say, look, on paper, world rank, And the fact that they're home, this should be an American win. But you could have said the exact same thing about 2021 and the United States lost. You could have said the exact same thing about 2013. And not only did the United States lose, they lost by 8 points. If you go back to 2000 and you really start to look at what's transpired, because the game really has gotten global and Europe really has grown, and you start to look at what's happened from 2000 to now, it is 6 for the U.S., 6 for the Europeans, and 1 tie. You couldn't get a closer match than you have right now. And I really feel like when it's this close, that it really is more about the captains. You know, it is more about Stacey Lewis, and it is more about Suzann Pettersson, and I think most people would like to admit it is about, they choreograph the team. But more than that, they set the message. They message the team. It is about, they have an effect on the attitude. And when you start to look and think about who have been the best captains on the U.S. side and on the international side or the European side, I certainly look at what Suzann Pettersson did last go-around, when early on she had reason, I think, to be upset with some of her key players. She set them, and she got more points out of the team. She got more points out of those players. So she sent a message to her team in doing that. On the U.S. side, and you can speak to this, I think, better than anybody, I love what Julie Inkster did. After that 2013 big defeat at home, she wanted to send a message to her team. And how did she do that with y'all? Didn't she have a little gift for y'all?
Yeah, she did. So like you said, she had a big task ahead of her, kind of redeem ourselves as a team. And starting at 2015 in Germany, she got us lunch boxes. And mainly the theme was get to work, get it done.
Get to work.
She's not about the stickers or the face tattoos or the ribbons. She literally wanted to give us an illustration and gifts as to what our job needs to be done. And we understood that message. In 2015, we had the greatest comeback in U.S. Solheim Cup history. And that went to 2017. We dominated in Iowa. And again, we had a tough task in Glen Eagles, but we went with the same theme. She understood her players inside and out. And I feel like she doesn't say much, but she gets to the point. And it's very light. There's tons of laughs. And also she chooses the correct assistant captains to follow her message and to relay that upon the team.
Yeah, in essence, she was having a bit of fun, but also saying, look, the messages get to work. Didn't she bring, hard hats for the
hard
next one?
hats, the workers' vest, and yeah, it all was planned out, I think, all ahead of time, and we got the message, and we all handled the message in our own way and went our business about our own way. So that was great.
Yeah, the role of the captains in this Solheim Cup is going to be interesting because we sort of got to witness a bit of their style last year. You had Stacey Lewis, who's very statistically driven. She works with KPMG Insights, and she works a lot with the numbers of how she pairs the women together. And then you've got Suzann Pettersson, who is just fire, gut instinct, and just sort of pure emotion, it seems like. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue with those themes this year. But it's going to be so exciting watching these women lead their teams into battle. So here is how you can watch coverage of the Solheim Cup this week. It all starts Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern here on Golf Channel. Saturday, 7 a.m. Eastern on Golf Channel. 3 p.m. over on NBC and Peacock. And then Sunday for those singles, 8:45 a.m. Golf Channel. And then over 12 p.m. Eastern, NBC and Peacock.